Hello and welcome everybody to the latest edition of the Jam and Cheese Show. Cheese is back from Vegas and sporting quite the hat.
Yeah, thank you. Back from Vegas. I don't think anyone in the building here is feeling that great.
No, still.
I'm on a high for the win, but yeah, the plane ride was actually pretty decent for me. I think I went to sleep before we took off, and I woke up 40 minutes before we landed. So it's a good 12, 13 hour kip. But yeah, it was bloody awesome. Like the whole spectacle was just unreal.
Yeah, obviously it's a business trip, but with a massive difference. What were the highlights for you? The season launch was like a season launch I've never seen before. Obviously, playing in America, like the places you visited before you got to Las Vegas, like where are you at with it all, Cheese?
Yeah, well, I've never been to America, so like everything was like a brand new experience for me. Just a massive rap to the Roosters, like how they organised our trip and what we got to do. It wasn't just like a business trip. There was a lot of leisure activities and a lot of stuff we did together as a group. We went to 2 basketball games, Universal Studios, and just it really made like the trip once in a lifetime for me, because I'd never experienced an NBA game. It was unbelievable. Got to experience with all my mates. My mum and dad got to fly over to America. They hate flying. But, it's always been a massive thing for them to go to Las Vegas. They watch shows like Porn Stars all the time. And we actually played on...
P-A-W-N.
Yeah, P-A-W-N. But it was my mum's birthday, the day of the game. So,
nice.
she said it was the best birthday she's ever had in her life. So, yeah, massive thanks to the NRL for that. Like, being able to experience those moments with my friends and family. Probably something I'll never forget.
Yeah. What was it like behind the scenes? I spoke to some people, like some players that said, "Oh, it's so different." Like they wanted to charge you corkage for the water, like and stuff like that. Yeah,
I can't really remember too many things, but like you couldn't put water in your minibar fridge and leave it there. If you left it there, the hotel would charge you for, like, or they'll take it and you'd have to pay for it to get it back. But the tipping was a new one for me. I went to one nightclub in Los Angeles, and it was like I brought 4 like vodka lemonades, I think, and it was like 108 US, and I couldn't believe it. And then they tried to ask for a tip as well. I didn't tip them, and then the next time I went to the bar, I was waiting for like 30 minutes. No one wanted to serve me. I was like, mate, in Australia that's $200 pretty much for 4 vodka lemonades. You got to be kidding. But yeah, it's definitely a different experience. Like even at the kiosk at the NBA game, you're ordering your own food and they're asking for tips. It's like, I'm doing the work here.
I know. And you know what? I don't mind tipping if the service is up to standard, but some of the service you get was very average. Even like at Starbucks, like you put in on the machine, it comes up with like 20%, 25%, or like enter your own tip. If you go 20%, it goes bad tip, and you're like, rip this thing off.
Don't even get me started on the coffee as well. I went to like a few coffee joints. You put your own milk in for you. Like, you have to put your own milk in. Like, what is that,
mate? How the Australian and New Zealand style cafe hasn't taken off over there, it beggars belief.
It's actually the worst coffee I've ever had. It's so bad.
It's insane. It boggles my mind.
Like a flat, they don't know what a flat white is. And a latte is just an Americano with someone poured milk in at the end.
It boggles my mind. It really does. In terms of the result itself, Cheese, and the level of performance from the Roosters, I think back to this time last year, your first game with the Roosters, lose, some could say a game you shouldn't lose against the Dolphins.
Yeah.
The new kids on the block, the contrast in the performance against the Broncos versus the performance against the Dolphins this time last year. The Roosters, they look like they've learned their lessons from last year, and there's been a big change there, and obviously looking to continue where they left off from last season in terms of that form.
Yeah, I was obviously very stoked with the performance, but it sort of comes down to like our preseason was 10 times different to the previous one last year. Just we got new personnel, new staff, even the way they went about it was all different. So you got to take your hat off to the footy side of the staff at Roosters. They really put their work in the off season, and we're sort of reaping the benefits now. And it's only the first game though, so you don't want to get too ahead of yourself. But we don't want that stigma of Roosters are slow starters during the season. We had to get this win to set us up for a good season, and hopefully it's something we can just keep going.
Yeah, and plenty of depth there as well when you think Dominic Young to come into the team, Billy Smith to come into the team, Jared Hargreaves, maybe Connor Watson, Angus Crichton as well. Like
Egan Butcher.
Mate, there's a lot of depth there as well, which obviously helps. I think a few of those boys are playing New South Wales Cup this weekend.
I don't know if the bookies know yet. But yeah, obviously the depth is crazy, but it also makes you're not secure in your position. So every day at training, you're not gonna someone's sniffing up your ass pretty much. And if you don't perform at training, you're held to a high standard, and you're pretty much fighting for your position everywhere there.
That's a strange way of
sniffing up your ass.
I know you said you brought in some new coaches and some new backroom staff, but
we didn't bring in a new media.
Whatever they've got you doing. Like,
we didn't bring in a new media advisor.
Yeah, it seems to be working. Obviously, Cheese, look, the performance, the victory, and the whole weekend, what's dominating the headlines from it is obviously an incident involving your new teammate, Spencer Leniu. I think we acknowledge that it has happened, but I'm not going to put you in a position or ask you anything about it respectfully. That you need to remain silent on this at the moment. So it's not glossing over it. It's not asking you. I think, a respectful thing to do is to acknowledge that it's happened, or that there's a charge been laid, and there's not much more you can say. And I certainly wouldn't want to put you in that position and then this be used against you and get you in trouble at the Roosters.
Yeah, thanks, mate. I don't want to be in that position. I wasn't even on the field when the incident happened, so I don't really have an opinion on it, especially since it's not even been dealt with yet. Yeah,
well, I think it's going to be dealt with next Tuesday, so let's see what happens, because it's not going anywhere soon. But in other news, came as a massive surprise to me, and it's been rumoured. Tevita Pangai Jr. is looking to make his way back into the NRL. He's playing QCup this week, I believe.
You wouldn't want him to be his halfback. He doesn't like listening to that. I think that was his words.
Well, he said he's going to wear headgear because his trainer doesn't want him to get a cup. But I heard about the rumours and I sort of discarded it, because he came on and we spoke with him, and he seemed like he was all in and on the boxing thing, and he was done with rugby league. But I guess there's a pathway there for him to come back, which, again, like, really surprised. I wonder how much that, I don't know if you saw his fight in Townsville, and he was in with this geezer that he was meant to, like, put away pretty quickly. But this fella he was fighting, forgive me for not remembering his name, but
it was a great fight to watch.
He just kept, kept turning up, and like, they were both beyond fatigued.
The last round, they were both.
Oh man, they were in a
one big swing, and one of them could have fallen over.
But I just wonder. It's strange to see that.
Who's he playing? Is he in Queensland?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, because I think there's the angle that they're going to try and do is getting back into the Broncos system at some point. So, perhaps that could be the answer to the gap or the void that Tom Flegler's left.
Yeah. Well, I'm not glad to see him back because he's scary, but good on him.
Yeah. Anyway, the round one continues on. It's time to let go of Las Vegas and head up to Newcastle. Surprisingly, the first game here in Australia, round one, Newcastle versus Canberra. Like, most people wouldn't get excited about this usually, but there's a lot to like about this game. So I believe it's a sellout up there in Newcastle. Big crowd expected. Not much expected from Canberra this season externally, but where's your tip with that one, Cheese?
It's weird with Canberra. They're always that team that sort of just loves to just prove people wrong, and like respectfully, their side does on paper shouldn't, beat the Newcastle side on paper.
There's
that's obvious. There's obviously the Newcastle are favourites, but
there's no real superstar in that Canberra team.
I hate Canberra, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, they're just that team that just somehow they just dig deep for each other when they. I think I've got a losing record against Canberra, and that's probably where my hatred comes from. But for some reason, you can't ever back them out.
No, I guess that probably comes down to their coach, Ricky Stewart, and the narrative that he'd like to tap into. I think last year, they were talked about just making up the numbers basically in the finals, and geez, they certainly went up to Newcastle and give it a shake. This Newcastle game versus Canberra is my same game multi-game this week for Ladbrokes. I have gone with Newcastle to cover the line at -7.5 into Tuwala and Marju. The 2+ tries for the duos. What a feature that is on Ladbrokes, by the way. That is like the best feature I've ever seen. And only Newcastle to score 20 points. That's a 3-leg same game multi paying $4.36. And you can follow these tips and plenty more on the Buy Round community, which is only available on the Ladbrokes app. T's and C's apply and available on the Ladbrokes website. That's an absolute steal. I am starting the comp with a
$4. You'll be retiring soon, lad.
Mate, well, mate, this is, mate. Well, this is how the smart gamblers work. Jeez, we don't chase the big odds. We $4 for the same game on a Thursday. That's going to start your weekend off nicely.
$4.
You're not happy with the $4?
No, not happy with $4.
This is where people get carried away, though.
Are you going to roll into all your winnings into the next one?
Or? Yeah, you're going to have to, aren't you? Warriors against the Sharks over in New Zealand. Another sellout expected. The game, it's hard to imagine the game ever being stronger over there in your home country of New Zealand. Cheese, what have you made of everything, what's been going on there? And obviously a couple of great additions, Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, Kit Capel.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I'm with the Warriors on this one. I don't know what it is, but adding those two people to the team is to a team that didn't really lose anyone. Sharks are definitely a bloody good team, but yeah, I'm super impressed. How long's Eden around? Is he?
He's here for
the whole year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, good luck, Warriors up the wires.
Yeah, this is like a hugely important start to the season. The Sharks criticised so much for not being able to compete against top 8 teams and more specifically top 4 teams. They play one of last season's top 4. Like, this is a huge opportunity for them to right those wrongs from the very first game of the season, to say, listen, everybody, shut up. We can compete. And I think if you look at their team, like, they've gone with a very big and strong interchange. So for Nukin, out the 13, Cameron McInnes is going to start. Then they've got Jack Williams, Toby Rudolph, and Tom Hazelton all off the bench. No Braden Hamlin-Welle, which is disappointing. He's one of the best front rowers.
Is he injured?
I think he is, yeah. He's one of the best front rowers at the Sharks, but it's still a strong forward pack. But I don't know, I just see Roger in those 2 trials, and I know I'm always one of those, don't read too much into trial form, but Jesus, he looked good.
Yeah, well, it's not like he needs a connection either. He's been a part of that organisation and that squad with pretty much the same personnel that are there for a long time. So I think, yeah, I'm still going to stick with the Warriors, but Sharks are there to prove a point, and I guess who would you say their key men are to get them over the line? Obviously, Nico Hines being one, but
yeah, look, I reckon Trindle needs a big year alongside him. I think.
Oh yeah, is Moylan? What's Moylan doing?
Moylan's in Super League.
Super League.
Yeah,
There we go.
So I reckon Trindle's a guy that really needs to not step up. I think he's done a fantastic job and he's nailed that number 6 jersey down at the Sharks, but he really needs to come to the front this season. And Will Kennedy, another one that's a really important figure for the Sharks. If he can elevate himself a little bit higher into games, I think they'll go well. But look, they've got I don't think there's a tougher ask, barring going to Melbourne, for a Sydney team to go over to New Zealand at this time, as in the time where there's a buzz around the Warriors sell out. Like
that will be a packed stadium.
Yeah, like usually if you had Warriors in round 1, you think, we'll be all right. But they're going to have all the lights are going to go out. They're going to do all it's like the Undertaker coming out when the Warriors come. They put on a great event there, so it should be a good game. But I think the Warriors will just have enough.
We're going to take a quick break from the show to talk about AG1. Taking care of your health isn't always easy, but it should at least be simple. That's why for the past 3 years, I've been drinking AG1 every day, no exceptions. It's just 1 scoop mixed in water once a day, every day, and it makes me feel focused and ready to take on every day. That's because each serving of AG1 delivers my daily dose of vitamins, minerals, pre- and probiotics, and more. It's a powerful, healthy habit that's also powerfully simple. Healthy aging doesn't need to be complicated. It certainly shouldn't feel complicated. That's why sometimes when you're taking all sorts of mixes of pills, potions, powders, supplements, whatever, it can become exhausting. But just 1 scoop of AG1 every single day covers all my nutritional bases. It helps support my mental and physical health, which are so important to me, and I don't need the hassle that can be part of the mental health issues. So in just 60 seconds every morning, I know I'm giving my body exactly what it needs and setting up my sustainable habits for the long run. If there's one product I had to recommend to elevate your health, it's AG1. That's why they've been a partner of the Buy Round for so long. So if you want to take ownership of your health, start with AG1. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3 and K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase exclusively at drinkag1.com/buyround. That's drinkag1.com/buyround. Check it out.
Mate, over to your old team. The Storm, the round 1 experts, not lost a round 1 game since 2001. Coach Bellamy, 2001.
Holy heck.
But have they ever faced a tougher task?
No, I think the NRL was sick of Melbourne with that record. And
it does look like that, doesn't it? Like they've just gone, we need to get rid of this winning record from round 1. They've put them up against the three Peters off the back of a loss over in England against Wigan.
Yeah.
But what is it that makes this Melbourne team so good in round 1, Cheese?
I think probably the preseason is what Bellamy puts it down to, because obviously the preseason at Storm is regarded as really hard, and it's well known for being tough. And I experienced that my first year there. It was unbelievably hard. But they all are. But there's just something about, they sort of focus on this game and this record and protecting it. It's not a big talking point at training, but it's about starting the season fast and setting yourself up for a season, a long season ahead. And getting that round 1 win is obviously a great start. But, it's a record that I think the boys respect more than Belzer actually respects it. It's about acknowledging how much you respect Craig and this record that he probably doesn't really care about. Whereas the players have to kind of go out there and show you respect and try to keep that round one win going.
Is that something that the senior boys drive?
Yeah, that's something Cam would kind of. It wasn't like it was like a big massive thing, but it was like, let's just keep doing this for Craig. And I don't know, it's definitely a tough arcs. Penrith coming off a loss, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
It's a big part of the Melbourne identity piece.
Yeah.
Of this is who we are. We start the season well.
Yeah.
Like we grind out results in round one. We complete high, play low percentages, kick to corners. But like I say, this is
everything you said the team they're playing does at probably the best.
Yeah, it's got like we've had some great games to kick off this year, but I reckon this is the pick of the round.
Yeah,
it really is. And Jerome Luai is back. He's not played any trials. No Nelson or Sofa Solomona for the Melbourne Storm. What's interesting, I reckon, is Melbourne Storm, their trial against the Bulldogs, the kick over the top for Pappenhausen versus Penrith when they played that game against Wigan. The kick over the top for Bevan French, which unfortunately Bevan French was fractionally offside, but he was offside. But just maybe to see if they'll have a look at that and try and exploit that off the back of a scrum, the early kick or the early kick in general play, and look to ignite Pappenhausen.
It's a bit of fool me twice, shame on you though, isn't it?
It is. It is.
But they're thinking, no way they're going to try that again. They wouldn't do it again.
They wouldn't do it again. Surely not. I reckon I've got Penrith in this one. I think the round one record is going to go.
Yeah, I'm sticking with Melbourne.
I've changed my mind on this. You're
that's not logical. It's pure heart.
Yeah, it's.
But also, there's that extra motivation. I don't know if you saw Bells might be wrapping it up this year.
He's been maybe wrapping it up for the best part of a decade, like almost
for the last
5-6 years.
Yeah. But this one seemed more convincing. But
yeah, it's weird. I don't know him, but I know people like him, and their mentality of around just needing something really extremely challenging to function in. Like they're no good in calm.
Yeah.
With not many variables, they need uncontrollable variables.
Who's this?
People like Craig Bellamy. Like if they, if they've just got a structure that, if they've just got like the day where they're just gonna potter around
honestly,
and do stuff.
He's one of those guys that just has to be amongst it.
Yeah,
like, has to be amongst something.
So how's this going to be his last year?
I dare say he's not retiring as from Melbourne Storm. Yeah. He's just not going to be in that coach position anymore.
Yeah.
It'd be like the, what did you call West Tigers? Remember Benji Marshall was the coach, but he wasn't really being the coach. He'd be like more
a director of football.
Yeah, exactly. Like a advisory.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're right though. He just keeps driving his price up when he says, I need to retire soon. So
maybe that's all it is. He's just like, I think I'm going to call it quits.
Yeah, and he's the worst. He'll never buy a coffee either.
He'd have plenty of Arthur.
I'm definitely going to go with Melbourne.
Yeah, I'm going to go Penrith.
Even better, I'll pick the score. It'll be 16-10.
In for a close one. Another game on Saturday. Big rivalry between the Parramatta Eels against the Bulldogs. Some, I guess, surprise selections. Guess. Blake Taff wins the number 1 jersey. Stephen Crichton and Jacob Carraz in the centres. Jamin Salmon in the 13, which is a huge surprise
for
everybody.
Bulldogs.
For the Bulldogs, yeah. So he's earned that spot. I guess most.
He's a fair footballer.
Yeah.
Like Cluey.
He moves the ball and disguises the ball around a little bit. But I guess most would have thought they may have gone to someone else, but he's earned it and he deserves it. So Bronson Cherry, and Toby Sexton outside the 17. Connor Tracy, Jake Turpin as well. So both not in the 17. So plenty of depth there for the Dogs. Big responsibility. Max King, who I believe has just re-signed a 3-year deal. Plenty after him, which is a huge coup for the Bulldogs. Coming up against Para, no Mike Acevo, and a lot of pressure on the Eels after playing the grand final 2022 and missing the 8 last year. So big task for them this season. Where are you seeing this one go, Cheese? There's obviously people...
You know what I'm interested in?
Obviously know who I'm going to pick the Dogs.
I'm interested in to see what Para has, because that with that new rule change, they were the team that, like, in my opinion, exploited that downtown rule the most.
With the long Mitchell Moses kick.
The long Mitchell Moses kick. So I don't know. I'm very interested to see, how Junior Paulo goes punching out. He was doing 70-minute games. Can he still do that when he's got to actually wait behind the ball and chase? It's it's a big difference. So, because sometimes they'd be honestly 20 meters in front of Mitch when
do you reckon Para to the team?
They're the 100%.
Okay,
they're 100. I know because when we were at the Storm, we copied Para because we used to call it a red kick, which meant if you said red, it pretty much meant we're kicking early.
Right, you just
run down.
Get on your bike.
Yeah, get on your bike.
Yeah.
And so, I feel like they exploited it the most. It'd be interesting to see.
Yeah. Lots of excitement. Sorry, go on, Cheese.
But as far as the game goes, I'm probably going to go with you. I'm probably going to go the Bulldogs.
Yeah, nice. Well,
I like the hype they've got around them. And the personnel change. I thought Stephen Crichton was,
oh, he's the man.
He's the man.
He's the man.
And it looks like he's really taken on that leadership role. So I've always said that Stephen Crichton was best centre in the game last year. So,
well, mate, it's actually insane. Like New South Wales centre options, like over in Las Vegas, you had the Origin fullback, and then the 2 fullbacks in the other game, in the first game. They're probably going to be the Origin centres if fit, but then you've got guys like Stephen Crichton, to name but a few. Like, it's insane. But yeah, I really like Stephen Crichton, what he's going to bring. There's a couple of good young forwards as well, so they need a big... You mentioned RCG, Campbell Gillard, Hopgood. It's a big task. I think Bulldogs really need... Paramount to their style of play is offload, short passes, offload. It's difficult to play against, but if you can wrap that ball up, put the forwards to the ground and negate that, you go a long way to winning that game. Later on Saturday, we've got Des Hasler, who's back in action, versus Shane Flanagan, who's back in action. So battle of the coaches, boxes, 2 very experienced
battle
coaches,
of the fossils.
two premiership winning coaches come up against each other after, well, for Des, some time out from NRL, but Shane Flanagan, a very long time on the sidelines. Couple of misses for the Titans. They're missing Tevita, and they're also missing Jaden Campbell. A lot mentioned about the impact that he's going to have this year. The Dragons are pretty much full strength. Tyrell Sloan gets the nod in the fullback jersey. What are you thinking about this one, Cheese?
This is probably an interesting game. Both quite like it's round 1, but I feel like it's a lot of pressure on both coaches. Both coming back,
especially with all due respect, if either of these teams are going to do well, they need to get 2 points against this type of opposition.
Yeah, these 2 teams.
Yeah.
After watching the Dragons' first trial, I'm going to go with the Dragons. They lost their first trial, I think, but
against these Rabbits.
Yeah, but I thought they were good.
I actually thought they were.
I thought they were really good. And they just missed it. Like, if Ben Hunt didn't come off, I reckon they go a lot better than they did. But I just like the sort of direction they're heading in. And
the Dragons, at time of recording, are $2.60, so massive outside as Gold Coast Titans $1.50. That is a huge. I'm with you. I like the Dragons in this one.
Me too.
I really do.
And Dragons, I don't know what, but they've usually had a good start to seasons.
They do normally start.
I remember
really well.
2017. I think they went 7 in a row, and they played us and lost.
Is that 2017?
Yeah. But they usually start games well. I know Flanagan's coaching style would be tough. That's a lot of effort in preseason, and that sort of comes out in those opening games.
Yeah, I think the Titans like missing two of their most important players in Tevita and Campbell this year. That'll hurt them, and I think the Dragons, if they've got any ambition to make the 8, they've got to pick up 2 points here against the Titans. To wrap up the weekend and round 1, we go to Brisbane to watch the Dolphins, who started the season magnificently last year up against the Cowboys in a Queensland derby. This promises to be a great game. Like, you look at the Dolphins.
What day is that?
That's on Sunday afternoon, 4:00 game. I'll be there for Triple M. So we've gone to Vegas, back, and now we're up in Brisbane. But mate, if you look at the players that aren't playing in the 17, obviously Tom Gilbert, unfortunately for him, did his ACL. But even with that loss, look at these names that they've got: Jared Wallace, Avarillo, the new signing, Ewan Aitken, who was fantastic last year, and Isaiah Katoa, one of the best young halfbacks getting around, all not even in the 17. Now, we said last season that the Dolphins' depth would be really tested.
Yeah.
This year, that's not the case. I think they've got very good strength in depth this year.
It's probably the game, apart from the Melbourne and thing, it's definitely the game I'm most excited about. Because some of the players in that Dolphins team that they acquired, like Herbie Farnworth, he was honestly one of the best centers in the game last year, and then Tom Flegler's one of the most promising young props coming through. So you pair that up with who they've already got, I reckon they're going to go pretty well.
Yeah, I agree. This is. It's really hard to split this one.
I don't know who to pick in this team.
You know what I'm predicting?
What?
Points. I reckon points. I reckon we're going to see a high-scoring game. Lots of great finishes in there. Like, you look at the Cowboys team. Obviously, Jason Tambolo not skipper anymore. Ruben Cotter will skipper that team, but there's just strike everywhere. Val Holmes, like, we forget about how good he is. Scotty Drinkwater was amazing last year. Their back row in Nanai, Lukey to start, Cotter.
And Cowboys have something to prove.
Yeah.
Missing the top 8 last year after finishing in the top. They finished the top 4 the year previous.
They did. Yeah.
There's a lot of pressure on that team, and I feel like Todd Payton, I feel like he's going to have them firing.
Yeah.
But I still can't split it, so I'm not even going to.
I can just see a really high scoring game in this one.
Yeah.
Like, really high scoring. Nice dry track up in Suncorp. Queensland derby. What a great way to finish the round. The NRL have put this round on. It does seem like they've gone and picked some great matchups to tee the season off. I don't think there was an algorithm or just whatever happened. I think this has been by design. It's great to see. I'm predicting points. Yeah, I'm gonna.
Where are those points leaning towards?
I'm gonna go the obviously whatever the market is, the overs. I don't even need to know what it is, overs. But
I'm gonna go ready because I figured out last year that they start the season well.
I'm taking Cowboys.
There we go.
All good. All right, Cheese. Well, that just about wraps us up. We're all pretty tired and fatigued.
Not me.
What are you doing this weekend for the weekend off?
Training.
Is it a bit weird that you've got round? You've just
I couldn't
played.
even think about playing on Friday or Saturday. Jesus. It is a little bit weird, but I think we're training.
Yeah, just back into training. But obviously the Tigers get their first 2 points of the year as well. So congratulations to Benji Marshall and everybody involved at the West Tigers for getting their 2 points. Cheese, I'll let you get
Are they
back.
on top of the table at the moment?
No, they won't go top of the table, and they won't even get in the 8 either because 8 teams will win.
Draw.
If there's a draw, Tigers will be in the 8 to start the year. Correct. Cheese, it's been great to see you. Thanks for coming in after obviously a big trip Las Vegas. You've got plenty of rest that is needed, and I will not be
plenty
far
more needed.
All right, thanks for listening, everybody. We'll catch you later on this week with an interview with my former teammate Josh Morris.